Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Foundation by Story Archives. I'm one half of your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other half of your host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with Season 3, Episode 3, and what is quickly becoming... I feel like the show's picking up steam, Zach. Like it's coming into its own as its own sci-fi type of show. You know, Apple's endless money pit gave this show the time it needed to get to a place where we could have an episode like this where it's just pure political intrigue. The set pieces, the chess pieces have been kind of set on the board. And, you know, it just, I don't know, it feels like a world that's lived in for some reason now more than ever. And I think this episode kind of showed that.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree with that. I would also say this is probably, I think it's my favorite episode of the season so far. Probably one of my top favorite episodes of the series so far as well. I wouldn't put it maybe number one. I think there's other very notable moments from season 1, season 2 for me, but I'm loving this episode. I think I shot you a message after watching it saying like this kind of gave me some Game of Thrones vibes where everything was just very political. You're seeing alliances made. It was very, very fun. I felt very drawn in to the story.
Yeah, and you know what's kind of weird about Foundation is that, and before we get any further, though, if you're enjoying our coverage of Foundation, make sure to subscribe, hit subscribe, like this video. We find that the end roll ads kind of suck to do, so we're just hitting you in the beginning with this. So make sure to like this video, subscribe, and let us know what you're thinking of Season 3 so far, Foundation, in the comments. So what I was going to say was, you know, what's a little weird about Foundation is, although it's like, for example, I feel like anybody can go at any moment. Anybody could die at any moment in Foundation. The color palette is such that it reminds you more of Star Wars. So it feels like nobody's ever going to die. But when they go to the party on Calgon, I'm honestly, because, you know, most shows you would send 3 main characters like Torin, Beta, and Han, Pritcher to a party like that. And you'd be like, oh, plot armor, they're going to survive. There's no way they kill them this early. Like, most shows would never kill a main character, right? But I honestly felt like, okay, Torin and Beta could make such a bad mistake here that, you know, Torin could be like, you know, this series Theon Greyjoy and have his, you know, be the torturing puppet of freaking the Mule. You know, and honestly, if the Mule had pressed the issue and not been so overconfident, he probably would have taken all 3 of them hostage. But you know, unbeknownst to me, it does seem like that scene was the Mule's first encounter or realization. He doesn't know who Gail Dornick is at this point until Han Pritcher shows up, and it's in that moment that the audience learns. We already kind of knew the Mule was a mentalic, but we learned that Han Pritcher is a mentalic, right?
Yeah.
And they were already giving us clues with him having like this feeling, this intuition that has been common amongst all the mentalics in the series so far, in episode 1 specifically. But we find out that he is truly a mentalic, and the Mule is essentially reading his mind and saying, who is Gail Dornick? So he doesn't know who she is. Unlike, you know, when we first meet the Mule, he is well aware of who she is, and we're getting this flash into him pretty much like picking her up, you know, chokehold style, Darth Vader style. And he's interrogating her about where the second Foundation is. So it seems like there's just, you know, like the Mule says in this episode, do you ever feel like, you know, things have a way of just playing out the way they're supposed to, like it's ordained, right? He used a lot of religious sort of talk in this episode about ordained. And do you ever feel like your life is being led by some sort of Holy Spirit? You know, he did a whole lot of that sort of thing. And I do wonder if that was true to the book or whether that's something that is unique to the show writers, that they're trying to take this approach, like what Gail says, that things have a tendency to just be pulled into his gravitational pool, so to speak.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. For a moment when he was, you know, saying that line about like it almost feels like you're being controlled by something else, like I was wondering, like, is this dude like really just a pawn for something? Like, is there something greater out there that's manipulating him? I don't think that's the case, but the thought crossed my mind.
Well, and, you know, for good reason, because of our such beloved Gail Dornick narrations, we do find out. See, this is the thing. And this is why we talk about, we're not going to stay here too long about our distaste for the narrations, but would it not have been better to just be surprised at how deep the Mule is, rather than have Gail's all-knowing self tell us below all his bravado and his recklessness was a plan that was taking root, that was much deeper, that made him different than every other pirate. We don't need to know that. Surprise us.
Yeah.
Surprise us. You know, that's the stuff that bothers me, because now we know that behind all of this, there's either some people he's working with, right? A race of people he's working with, or we already know he has another plot here, right? It's not just as vain as taking over the galaxy. It's something a little deeper than that. We don't know what it is yet. But Gail tells us straight up, as if we need to know as the audience. And that takes away the element of surprise. And I hope the show writers hear this, but it's a little too late, honestly, because we're 3 seasons in and they've told us all this already. So
Yeah. I kind of want to like do a rewatch almost and just like literally cut out all of the Gale monologues.
all the narrations.
Yeah, and just like see like how easy or not easy is it to follow. My assumption is that it's really not going to be all that hard to follow. Like, it is a complex show. Like, there's a lot of world building in here, but there's a ton of world building in other shows like Game of Thrones as an example. And I don't recall narration like that ever. Do you?
So I'll compare it to this. You know, you played Red Dead Redemption 2?
Heck yeah. One of the best games out there.
I'll use that specific game as an example, because I used to have, or I still kind of have, like a little undercover video game streaming channel that I would essentially play with no HUD. Okay,
Yeah.
so no HUD, and the only reason I did the no HUD was I wanted something more immersive, right? I wanted to know, is this game world so well designed that I can navigate to the places I got to go just by listening to the instructions of where it is on the map?
Yeah.
Right. So, or is this game not well designed and you literally need a mini map to get to every single place? So as much as I can, I try to turn off those mini maps and see, okay, are there signs on the trails? Can I find this place by myself, like somebody in, you know, the era of Red Dead Redemption 2 would have needed to do, you know? And my point with that is that, is the story so well told that you can remove the narrations and still kind of like understand and not be completely lost with what's going on, you know? Because I know we spoke last episode and we said, okay, we need to know a little bit, how the hell did Don meet Gail Dornick, right? And they give us that in this episode. They give us a nice little 3-year primer that essentially they had left behind this ability to sort of call it like a recruitment system, what have you, but they had the original Calais documents, whatever they call them, that he was looking for in the library. And that was their way of kind of finding like-minded people who had an inclination towards psychohistory. But what they weren't planning for was that it was going to be the next apparent ruler of the empire, right?
Yeah.
So we do get that flashback of how they meet. We get a whole lot of stuff here. We get a little bit of an understanding of how the Second Foundation is operating, right? Kind of very clandestine, in the shadows. They have their systems in place, but still, you know, very mysterious. We get a sort of sneak peek at their technology, at the fact that Gail can sort of appear as a hologram, you know, light years away, probably, I would assume. Is she doing that solely with her mind, or is she using a device in this scene? We don't know, because we didn't see a device on that table, right? So we got the information we needed to know of how he met her and how that alliance had formed.
Yeah, it almost felt like she was just projecting into his mind from that distance away versus like some holographic device. Because I mean, in this episode, in many episodes, we see like their holographic phone calls, and they definitely don't look that crisp and real.
I wonder if we're going to get an explanation as to, cause if she can do that, right? Because I even mentioned that, right? I said, how far do their powers extend? If Gail, without a device, can put herself on that planet, right? Like you said, if she's using his mind to see her there, then why can't the Mule just control somebody from Calgon, if that's the case? So we got to learn a little bit more about that, and we also have to learn, is that skill of being able to control people's minds Mule specific, or could Gail do that if she truly wanted to and tuned her abilities to do so?
I think Gail could. I mean, just to respond to that. I think Gail could totally do that. Like that's Tellum from the last season. Like that's literally what she did the entire time on the planet. The Mule just feels like what Tellum was on steroids, at least from the snippets that we've gotten so far. That said, I don't know how powerful Gail has become over the last few years.
You know what's going to be really funny is when those two finally fight on screen. It's just going to be like
they're staring at each other, like
exactly.
trying
It's
to
just going to be
screw
them
each other's
staring at
minds.
each other like it's going to be Zoolander, Blue Steel face back and forth at each other. You know,
That's hilarious.
Power waves, unseen power waves.
Yeah. I did want to go back to the scene for a moment in the nightclub where you were mentioning like Mule and Han Pritcher kind of had this moment together where the Mule was like, "You're like me," right? That's correct me if I'm wrong, though, that's when he realized or learned of Gail, right?
Yes, from Han Pritcher's mind.
Which is interesting though, because
He's a double agent.
He must be, right? Because Han Pritcher we've seen him in the first, or I guess technically we would call it the Foundation Take 2, or whatever, the one after, or Terminus 2, sorry.
Yes.
Terminus 2 is where we saw him. But for him to know Gail like that, he's got to be, from that planet.
Yeah,
right?
my bad for interrupting you there. Hans Pritcher, I think, realized, is it Han or Hans? Han.
That's a great question. It's Han. Just like Han Solo.
Yeah. He realizes how much of a mistake it was. My understanding of that scene is this. Because he's a double agent of the Foundation and the second Foundation, because he's a Mentalic, he realizes that he's given away the existence of the second Foundation to the Mule now. And that's why he leaves. Because I found it really corny that he left like that.
Yeah.
Okay? I find it very corny, a little bit, let's not call him any names, but,
he tucked
a little
bit
flojito, he could have stuck it out there maybe 10 more minutes, but now as I look at it, I realize why he had to dip like that. The reason he had to dip was because he just literally snitched on the whole operation unknowingly because this guy got in his mind, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, it was a little cheesy, them getting in there, and it felt like, I don't know, seeing the Mule decimate like an army of 200 people made me feel like he'd have a little bit more of an Iron Dome type system here in terms of like, I felt like he's the type of guy who would have been reading everybody's thoughts as they were maneuvering through the party type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought was kind of going to happen, at least when they were walking in there. So I was a little surprised that it seems he was taken off guard, though it did lead to what I felt was arguably one of the most entertaining scenes of this episode so far between the Mule and Han. Well, not Han, actually. The Mule and Thorin, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did find it that they got away a little bit too easily. Like, I felt like the Mule was just too nonchalant about everything. But knowing what I know now, that he essentially was finding out about the Second Foundation for the first time, to him, the only threat he has is the Foundation and Empire, right? He doesn't think that there's an army of people just like him, right?
Yep.
Which would be his biggest threat, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So it makes a little bit of sense why he would let them get away. Although I didn't think that he would just go so far as to let Beta and Thorin get away with, what is this guy's name? Magnifico Gigantico?
Yeah, Magnifico Giganticus.
I was laughing so hard at that name.
Yeah.
By the way, I thought the music was badass.
It was. I'm not a house music kind of guy, but that was great, right?
I thought the world building was cool there, like an instrument that I've never seen before. He's essentially playing almost like sound waves on top of like a
hypnotic sound waves. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just such a cool concept.
Yeah.
It honestly felt a little bit. Tame Impala released a new single today, and I was like, it felt a little bit like, if Tame Impala existed in the era of the Foundation, it would be Gigantico Magnifico or whatever.
That's
so.
hilarious.
Also, Magnifico was really eager to go with Beta, and she's kind of a baddie, so I can see why. But she just kidnapped him straight up while Thorin was getting his hand sliced open like an apple.
Yeah, bro, I don't know how that guy kept a straight face with that. I was wincing, cringing inside. Yeah. Also, threw me back to Game of Thrones when I was watching that. Anytime I see somebody getting flayed, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Game of Thrones.
Now I know. Now I remember. Now I know why the Theon Greyjoy thing popped into my mind. Because I remember him just always like with tools around Theon. You know, who remembers him waving the freaking giant wiener at the
Oh man.
oh my god. So we got Don and Gail's little reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Or not reunion, their little secret alliance, and Don's trying to navigate. He's trying to like establish that the Mule is a real threat here, but his two brothers and Demerzel don't understand how much of a threat he is because this guy can't come out and say. Also, shout out to his little elaborate disguise with the mustache and goatee, which
Hilarious.
I love something that they've been doing in this season, which is they keep on calling back to old Cleons that we have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep on saying, well, face scramblers were banned because of, you know, one of my predecessors, which we saw the predecessor who used the face scramblers in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I love hearing back on these things because I feel like a little mini Foundation historian as I see this.
Yeah. It's fun to see a throwback because you have the moment of like, oh yeah, I remember that. Another thing that's fun about not hearing the narratives is things like that, where you just get a throwback to something that you're already well aware of.
Also, shout out Gail Dornick, major glow up since season 1. Is she trying to seduce Don, or was that just me looking at her the way she was talking to Don? Because I was like,
I think it was probably just you. I mean, I don't know. I
She
mean,
was
she's
talking to
definitely gotten a little older since season 1, that's for sure.
no, but she was talking to him like very well.
Well, she's trying to seduce him into an alliance in that
That's what I'm
way.
saying. She
Yeah.
was trying to seduce, but she was taking a sexual route with it a little bit. Like she was trying to play to her own, her own looks a little bit. See if Don, like anything to get Don on her side. She was going low, and he even called her out. He said, "Listen, I know when I'm being played here, and
Yeah.
if you start to play me too much, I'm a light you up." Pretty much is what he said.
Something to that effect. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
blame her for doing it though. Dawn
I'm
always
rooting
seems
for a
to
little-
have a thing with women.
All of them for real, except for freaking Sunset or what is his name, Dusk.
Brother Darkness to be soon.
Brother Darkness. Brother Darkness is kind of a dope nickname.
It is.
I am kind of rooting for a little Gail Dornick Don action, though. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't mind seeing a little love affair between those two lovebirds. Kind of epic.
Yeah, I mean, they are like a universe away, so we'll see.
What was the name of the girl that Don the 14th ran off with? Sarah?
Sareth, yeah.
I wonder whatever happened to their baby.
It's got to come back at some point. Like, I can't see a show like this just
Damn it.
having such a significant part of season 2 be the fact that Sareth is pregnant. They escape at the end. And we just don't talk about it ever again. So it's got to come back somehow. Maybe it's tied to the Mule. You never know.
It'll be a Gale narration that says,
Yeah.
Don the 14th and Queen Sareth were known as the lovers astrayed on the star. But what those who didn't know was that the star was the baby in her belly. That baby in her belly would be known to be the descendant of Han Pritcher, Mentalic of the 4th Regiment of the Blood. Well, shut the. That's probably what's gonna happen.
Those
I don't know.
exact
The
words,
one
too.
thing with this series is, brother, it is difficult to remember the planet names in this series.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I had to Google. I was like, because I kept on getting confused. Like, is Mycogen off planet? No, Mycogen is on the 88th level in Trantor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a whole world within itself, which we'll talk about right now. Turns out Song is a part of this old religion called the Inheritance, or I think it's called.
Yeah, it's the inheritance.
And I did find it a little sus when she did that little arm movement to Demerzel when Day turned his back. And turns out that this religion worships robots and thinks that robots are going to get rid of all the evil in the world, pretty much. And so Demerzel had to do the Demerzel thing and wipe her memory, which, for her, seeing the way we've seen her kill people in the past,
Yeah.
is about as merciful as she can be in her coding. So maybe there's some genetic drift there. And yeah, I really don't. They made it a point to end the episode with Day and Demerzel's falling out.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, that thing was in the editing room at one point. So they could have been deciding, what are we going to end this episode on? Are we going to end it on the Mule taking over the jump gate and that being the final reveal? Like pretty much end it with the call between Don and then do the big reveal that he just took over one of the jump gates near Callaghan? Are we going to end it with, or I think those were the two ending points really in my head as an editor. It either would have been the reveal that he took over a jump gate, or it would have been the Day Demerzel thing. That would have been the two ending points for me personally if I was editing it. So it's obviously going to play a role. Song's memory has been wiped, so Day has lost his lover, right? Unless he gets her memories back to her somehow.
Yeah.
And then I guess you could have also ended the episode with what's the guy's name? The Claviger?
Yeah. Claviger.
Yeah, the big black dude who was in the last episode, who his daughter is sick. And
Maven. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I really like, what's his name, by the way?
Maven, I think, right?
Is it Maven? Okay.
I think so.
His character seems interesting to me. He stood out the moment we were watching the poker game. Why? Because he was like the first character who showed me that. He even says it today in this episode. He says, "You do inspire a little bit of confidence, or something like that, or something like, or loyalty." I think this Day is actually loved, and I made that comment in I think episode 1, or episode 2, which was that, believe it or not, I do think that this brother Day wouldn't be a bad emperor if he decided to become one, because he really does seem to think like the common people. He's even doing an incredibly selfless thing here and giving up pretty much his ticket towards immortality, I would assume, or like a very long life, which are the nanites that are in his body that are pretty much self-healing. So, and I honestly don't think he's deceiving him. I think he actually would give up his nanites to this guy's daughter.
I mean, I wonder if you have to give up. Is it like all or nothing? Like you can just like, hey, here's like 20%. That'll cure your
maybe
cancer or whatever you got.
Yeah, you got a point there. Maybe he doesn't give them up completely, but if he doesn't have to, he doesn't got to give them all up. The big thing here is that Mycogen, we now have it established that Mycogen is the place where this religion does exist on the lower levels. So I do think Day goes there regardless of Song having her memory wiped or not. He still goes down there. And I would love to know what happens to him, what transformation occurs with them. And let me ask you now, since we're on episode 3 and you love these types of questions.
Oh boy.
Do any 3 of these emperors die in this season before the end? Like, I'm talking midway.
Yeah, I would say at least one of them dies in some way.
Okay. Which one?
I feel like the most likely is Dusk, considering he's now like 9 days away from him being evaporated.
You think that happens before?
No,
that's not gonna.
I feel like he's got a good weapon. He's got a good safety net there with his new Death Star contraption. If anybody was going to die, I feel like it would have to be Day.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, Day died in the last season. Although he was also the one in charge and, making all the risky decisions. So we could argue maybe Dawn would do that. I don't know. I feel like Day could end up dying. He seems a little depressed, a little drugged up. He's going to run away.
So you think it's going to be straightforward?
Yeah.
What it looks like is what it's going to be?
It's a possibility, yeah. If I was going to pick any of the 3, I think I'd have to put my money on Day.
See, I would go the opposite. I would say, what would be the most interesting thing? What would be the thing that throws like the freaking, the nail in the blender? What would be the thing that starts that throws everything into a whirl?
Yeah.
Would be Dawn dying somehow. That would be the most interesting thing that could happen right now, is Dawn dying.
Yeah.
In a sense, because it would be the least expected thing that could occur, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I could be wrong though. I could be very wrong.
The only thing though is, if they die, there's a duplicate clone of them, right? So Dawn would just be swapped out.
Reborn.
Exactly. Now, if Day die,
but is he reborn the same as the Dawn who just left though? Is the question.
So historically the answer would be yes, because they're fed the same memories and everything, like while they're just in this
Okay,
floating
fair,
tank.
fair.
I don't know if the genetic drift is going to like influence that at all. Like, so maybe there is some variance still, but I feel like it would be like 99.9% the same. So like if Dawn dies, then it's just like, okay, cool. That was a really weird thing to kill a super in charge character. We'll just swap him out with the same guy. If Day dies, I feel like there's just this emotional investment into Day, but he's also not like in charge of everything. So it feels more realistic to me for him to be the one that dies.
I also have a little bit of Lee Pace bias. I feel like the show tries to get the most out of him because he's the. I don't want to use like basic terms like he's the best actor in the show because I don't think that's the case. I do think he's up there, but he's the most interesting character, the most dynamic character in the show for sure. He is the first name I think that pops up on the show credits, which obviously means that he's top bill.
Well, I mean,
I
he's been
think.
front and center like season 1, season 2. He's the center throne in both of those seasons. He's
Yeah.
little fuzzy on where we're at. They had the robing ceremony, so I feel like we're closer to Day or Dawn becoming Day or taking the center throne or whatever. So, yeah. I mean, I would agree though. Like they're all really good actors. They kill it. Like all the brothers, they kill it.
Speaking of all the brothers, I really did enjoy the scene where it sort of humanizes all three of them, even though they don't all get along.
Yes.
With them sharing some drinks from the flask for the wisdom. What is it? Strength, wisdom, and fortitude.
Yeah. I believe that's what it was. It was fun. Makes me want to drink a whiskey.
It was just a nice reminder that they're all not only brothers but the same person in some sense.
Yeah.
Even if you got two of them royally robed and you have the one in the middle wearing shorts and like sandals and a big Lebowski type robe on the center throne.
They're funny, man. I would love to see more of them like interacting with each other. I feel like that was something that we got a bit more of in season 1. Yeah, I'd say season 1. This they just it kind of feels like with this genetic shift and their own personalities, I guess, coming through or evolving, I feel like they all kind of have like their own path, their own mission that they're going on. Like, yeah, we had the Dawn defect thing from season 2 and all, but this is the first time I feel like they're all really kind of going down their own path.
Yeah, I would have to say they're all going down their own paths. They all have their own secret little ploys that Demerzel supposedly doesn't know anything about. And I would love to know if that's actually the case or whether Demerzel knows about the Death Star, Invictus. That seems to be.
I don't know how she couldn't.
Yeah, yeah, I would have to agree there. Song did go back down to Mycogen though, so
There could be a
I would
reunion.
assume Day. I would assume Day's gonna go down there to try to get a reunion and see, do the whole thing of does our love transcend, losing your memories.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like he could just like give her memories back. I mean, like, I
Yeah.
feel like we've seen that before. Also, that's literally what Demerzel is doing with her spiritual guide, which I'm curious to see how that continues to develop with her unburdening.
Yeah, we did it. We showed it once in episode 1, and we haven't gone back to it. And she was unburdening again in this episode. So I do think we're going to get a little bit of a heavier emphasis on Demerzel next episode, perhaps.
Feels like, I mean, we got to go back to that story. I mean, anytime we get to a point where we're like, this thing doesn't feel like it's getting enough love, Foundation does a good job of, well, you're getting it in the next episode. So
Yeah.
I can't disagree with you.
By the way, I do want to say the Mule is the most interesting character we've had on the show to date, in my opinion.
That's not one of the brothers. Yeah. Yeah.
It's either been Day or it's been the Mule. Those have been the most dynamic characters in the show so far. And Harry Selden, obviously, with his never-ending plots, right? Also, first episode in a while with no Harry Selden.
True. Actually, that's a good point. I didn't realize that. I thought I was going to miss
Also-
him a lot more.
Also, Gail found out in this episode that Harry gave the Prime Radiant to Demerzel.
Yeah, she was shocked by that. That's a good
She
point.
didn't know that. So
There's so many things, man, that Harry does that these people don't know. Gail doesn't know. His closest partner doesn't know. And it's like we sure as shit don't know it all either, man. Like going to this portal to another whatever that was. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe there's another prime radiant or something somewhere. Just
a third
floating
foundation.
around. Yeah. Quite literally a third foundation that none of us have thought about. It's the one where Harry Selden traveled to the Andromeda Galaxy and, established a settlement there. And Foundation 3 is coming to kill everybody.
Don't worry. We'll get a Gail narration that says, while the first foundation was alive and well, and the second foundation was building in Ignis, underneath the surface was something Harry Selden had told no one. A third foundation. That's the end. That's the end of season 3. Season 3, where we find out about the third foundation. Where do you think Beta and Torin are going? Because the only reason they survived is because they had enough money to have one of those whisper ships or whatever they're called, so they could do a jump.
I mean, I feel
Also,
like they're going to.
You saw the return of the sleep patches too. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I slapped that thing on quick. I don't know. I feel like maybe they're going to Terminus too. If I had to guess, feels like they're kind of running home to somebody.
Where's their original home planet? Where's the one that Hober Mallow runs, pretty much?
Ooh. Hober Mallow or Torin's
The
like,
Mallows
uncle?
have a specific planet that it's like the merchant planet.
Oh.
Which is that?
Let's see.
This is where we're missing Jimmy desperately.
I know. I wish we had a Jimmy. I miss Jimmy. We should bring him back.
It's just his rates went up too much.
Yeah. I don't really see anything obvious in terms of like his own. Oh, he was born on Smyrno. That's what I'm seeing.
Maybe Smyrno. Maybe it was that.
Smyrno. Yeah. Let's look up Smyrno. Planet Smyrno. I don't know. I don't think we've ever really seen all that much of Smyrno, so
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to Terminus. Like that just feels like where they would naturally go.
Yeah. Look, man, we at the end of the day, and we're gonna do this like with a little bit of a closing up pretty soon, but we are heading, or maybe we could do it now because it'll be like a little bit of a discussion. Where are we leaving off right now? We have these are the pieces in motion. The second foundation is alive and well. Seems like Gail's gonna stay awake now for good. It also seems that she went back to Trantor at some point to deliver back Calais' documents. I don't know how she got them there. Maybe she sent somebody over there with them. Probably more likely that. 2, Don already tried to be diplomatic with this guy, the Mule. Okay? The Mule pretty much gave him a talking to while he was taking over a jump gate. We got this secret Death Star that nobody knows about that I would assume gets revealed to Don in the next episode or 2. And becomes a major role because it's pretty much his last Exodia card, so to speak. His last piece of Exodia before getting vaporized into a pile of dust.
Yeah.
Dusk turns to dust. So he's going to whip that out and try to use it as something that keeps him alive for at least a few more months, right? You got Demerzel thinking that she's good with this whole religion being gone, that she wiped Tom's memory, but you also have Day, who has already a successful plot going on, which likens back to an old Don that escaped through the waterways years back, right? From second season, I think.
Yeah.
And so Day's going to go down to Mycogen. So what happens when he encounters that religion? Does he have a little, maybe he has some sort of epiphany with Demerzel. Maybe Demerzel finds her purpose and thinks that she needs to lead this religion. Let's see what happens here. I think that's very interesting. And we have Han Pritcher, who's been pretty much devastated. He's pretty much ratted out the whole second foundation against his will. That's another interesting thing. And then we have the wild card thing. The absolute joker in the deck is Harry Selden is in some weird angelic supernatural place now with whatever the spirit of Kale is. And we know that Harry Selden, I almost called him Harry Styles. We know that Harry Selden is always up to some crap. So what's it going to be, pal? All the chess pieces are there. I think, man, like this is about as good of a place you would have wanted to be heading into episode 4. I will say that. I am very happy with season 3 so far. It's probably the strongest season so far of the Foundation, if I had to say.
I think I would have to agree. I mean, it's been much better than expected. I mean, we've had our beef with certain parts of season 1 and season 2. Overall, I enjoyed them. I think that's why I'm still watching the show. Is why we're both still talking about it, because we enjoyed the show. But yeah, this definitely feels like it's really off to a solid start, and I hope they keep it up. And I mean, like, I love episodes like this because this is like, I'm sucked into a story. There's not just like a bunch of crazy action and just like intense scenes like we got in season 2, where I'm just like, oh yeah, that's the action-packed one, and like that's the one that you're waiting on. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Like, I'd be totally down for another like 2 or 3 or more.
Well, no, I think we're going to get at least 7 or 8. Somebody told me they're doing 7.
I
think
I
it's
meant
gonna
like
be
a
closer
deep
to 8.
episode like this, not just like 2
Oh,
more
like
episodes
this?
of the season. Yeah, like I like this. I don't need to have an action-packed scene in every single episode.
No, I agree. Which is surprising coming from you.
I know.
What
This
is
is
it?
the kind of
What is
episode I would say.
What is your famous line you always say?
It was slow or something along those lines.
I forget what it is that you say. You haven't said it in a while, to be fair. I think I forget what it was. It used to say something. It wasn't very fast paced. I forget.
It was a slow episode, but
Slow episode. Maybe that was
but
it.
it's good. Like, slow doesn't mean bad. Slow, like, there's time for them to build things, and I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I would like them to go deeper. I really thought the party scene was a little bit too fast for my liking.
Really?
Yeah, thought it was too fast.
I
That's a
didn't
hell
mind
of
the
a set
pace.
piece that they did, man. It
Yeah.
was a very big set piece, and just felt like too much of an in and out thing for me.
I felt like it was like half the episode, but
Yeah.
yes, I mean it's what it's, but not like
Maybe
a
that's
negative
maybe
way.
that's because I enjoyed it so much. I just found it like a little bit too easy. Oh, he's sitting out in the main courtyard, like literally with everybody there. We can go up to him very easily. I don't know. I just felt like it was too quick. Would have wanted it almost spaced out a little more.
Almost,
Also
almost
would've
like
wanted
you
it
were
a
kind of
little-
like seeing somebody like sneak around in there and like weasel their way up to him, not just
Yeah, I
walk
would've-
straight up.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
That's what but that is a good thing that they left me feeling like that. Made me wanting more. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than
So-
the alternative, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to get into some categories?
Yeah, and before we do, actually, I was surprised to see that Invasion Season 3 is coming out August 22nd. That they didn't announce that anywhere. I haven't
No.
seen that
Haven't
literally
even seen
anywhere.
the trailer. I don't even think it's out.
They need to bounce back from Season 2. Season 2 was not good. Season 1 was excellent. Season 2 was not good. So they do need to bounce back from that. Or I think Season 3 is going to be the last season of Invasion. As it is, I don't see how they take it past the Season 3. But not trying to be critical, just calling a spade a spade. That's what you're going to get from me. Didn't enjoy Season 2 very much.
Yeah. Well, I am excited for Chief of War coming out in like a few days here, less than a week.
What's coming out?
Chief of War. It's the new
know.
Jason Momoa show. It comes out on
I wonder if it's going to be good.
August 1st. I mean, look, he was in C. I really enjoyed C. Like I've been telling you to watch Slow Horses. You finally got on the train with Slow Horses. Go watch a few episodes of C. I mean, like, I didn't watch it when it first started coming out, so I got to binge, like, I think seasons 1 through 3, and then I had to wait for 4, which was a little painful.
I don't know if I'll watch it. I guess I'll watch it. Right now I'm watching Truth Be Told with Octavia Spencer, I think her name is. It's because I watched something recently, Untamed, on Netflix with Eric Bana, and it was a good show.
Yeah.
Finished that, so I'm kind of like in a murder mystery mode right now.
Okay.
But the Jason Momoa one thing they are pumping heavy marketing dollars towards Chief of War, whatever it's called.
Yeah. It looks
Although his
pretty cool.
character reminded me of Khal Drogo, like, and his
But
character in C.
yeah, his character in
So,
C reminds me of that too. I mean, like
so
it's he's
he's
he's definitely
definitely.
good for that character
But the
type.
thing is, he's literally like I could see this project meaning so much to him because he's from Hawaii,
Yeah,
or however, how do Hawaiians pronounce it? They have like a different way of pronouncing it.
I have no idea.
Hawaii. You hear like Tulsi Gabbard say it a certain way, and he says it a certain way. The Rock Johnson, Dwayne, The Rock Johnson says it a certain way. Um, I think this is a passion project for him. Just feels very similar to other roles he's played, but he's such a badass, bro. So
Yeah,
he's just a likable. He's a likable dude.
100%.
I think he sells the show. How are his acting chops in C? Does he have? Is it a layered character, or is it Khal Drogo like fierce warrior, like one note type of thing?
No, it's more layered than Khal Drogo.
Okay,
Like when I
Khal Drogo's
saw
a great
him,
character, by the way.
he
Great character.
it was. So I watched C before I watched Game of Thrones and saw him in that, and I thought his character in Game of Thrones was like a regression. Like it was just like
You saw him in C before you saw. Oh, that's right, because I had been on you for years to watch Game of
yeah,
Thrones.
yeah. Because I didn't watch Game of Thrones when it first came out, so I thought it was more like a regression for him as Khal Drogo,
Yeah,
relative to C.
we should do a whole Game of Thrones commentary series, but speak only in Dothraki. Like we both learn how to speak Dothraki fluently, and then do it.
Bro,
All right, let's do
that
let's
that
do
would just go
categories.
off the charts. All right.
Some shit like that.
Categories. I feel like we're going to be very aligned on a couple of these. Let's start with favorite character of the episode.
The Mule.
100%.
The
100% Mule.
Mule.
Favorite
The Mule.
scene of the episode.
The parties. Maybe.
I mean, that's where I'm at.
Nah.
Not just the party scene. For me, it was more
I don't know.
specifically the scene between Mallow and the Mule. I was so sucked into that. I thought the freaking like getting the mule to drink was funny. The whole insult me thing it was hilarious and also had me a little terrified. I was like, bro, this guy is
By
like,
the-
so unhinged. Like, I
By
don't
the
know what he's
way,
gonna do.
I wanted to mention something. Demerzel mentions that Day has a giraffe, and then he says, "Oh, it's pronounced giraffe."
Mhm.
And she mentions Earth. Is this
Yeah.
the first time that they've mentioned Earth on the show?
No, I don't think so. I feel like we
No.
had some mention of Earth from like the last season, just when we were like kind of getting some real historical things from like all the robots and whatever.
She
But-
also mentioned a commander, Ed Baldwin.
Now she's still seen. Can you imagine though? Oh God.
For those who don't know, we have an ongoing theory here that every show in Apple is connected to For All Mankind. So eventually, as we zoom out 3,000 years for All Mankind, it'll just lead into Foundation. All right, what's the next, man?
Well, what was your favorite scene? Was it just the whole like dance club thing?
It's hard. It's hard. I kind of liked the Don going to the library, the little backstory of Gail the most.
That was
Kinda
fun. It was a
enjoyed
really
that the
cool
most.
tea shop. I'll give him that. I wish I had a tea shop like
Yeah,
that.
it was very vibey.
Yeah,
Very vibey.
I know. I wish like so many of these set pieces, these like restaurants,
Low
and
key,
locations,
low
I
key,
wish
man.
they existed out here.
Miami's been getting some pop-up restaurants
Yeah.
that have this like intense decor. I was at one the other day in Wynwood,
Yeah.
and the vibes were not literally like that because the walls were red and there was like aquariums everywhere, like
Yeah.
fake aquariums everywhere. It was like super, felt very cyberpunky in there.
That's cool. It's been a minute since I've been to Wynwood, so you got to send me some photos next time you go. All right. Favorite line of the episode.
The Mule had some. Do you ever feel like your life is being led by some? What is it that he said about ordained? He says, "Do you feel
It's preordained or like you're possessed.
everything has a way?
Yeah.
Everything has a way of working out the way it's supposed to." I like that line a lot.
That was good. You
I
always
felt like the Mule because I feel like I say that all the time.
you always go with the deeper lines, and I always go with the absolute shallow
Let me guess what your
Garbage.
shit was. Yours was probably strength, fortitude, and wisdom.
No, no, it wasn't that, but it was from Brother Day. It was his line where he goes, "Brothers, if you believe this ship of state is sinking and you want to waste your final days sticking your fingers in holes,
Oh,
I'd
sticking
start
up
with
your
your little
buttholes.
butthole." Like what? That was funny. So yeah, that's my top line of the episode.
He has to have fun playing that role, man.
How could you not? Like, how could you
Yeah.
not? Like, you've gotta embellish a lot.
I like if we're gonna talk about like dumb lines, or not dumb lines, but funny lines. When he says to Song, "You've barely touched your drugs," and it cuts to a comedic shot. It's comedic. It cuts to a shot of like 3 unused spores on the freaking little riser they
Oh
had.
my goodness.
So,
Well,
all right, is
that's
that
all
it?
I got, sir.
That's all I got too.
Alrighty. Well, as always, thank you for listening to this episode of Foundation by Story Archives. You can find us on pretty much anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify primarily. You can visit us on YouTube, or you can visit our website at soapbox.house. You can find links to this show, our email, and pretty much anything else on the internet that you can think about.
We will see you guys on episode 4 of our foundation coverage. Have a great weekend.
Peace.
As I stutter my way out the door.
I'm going to leave that in.